to the next episode of the Backstory on Marketing and AI. If you haven't already done so, please visit ProRelevant.com and sign up for all of these episodes and podcasts. As you know, I am the author of the upcoming book, The AI Marketing Machine, and you can find out more information on that at marketingmachine.prorelevant.com. Today, I've got some special guests here. It's not usual that we get two people at the same time, but two is significantly more than double of one person. So really looking forward to talking with DJ Sprague and Scott Brandley. They are both with Shopper Approved, and they do some really, really cool stuff on reputation management and now how to look at that, especially in the with the AI and how AI is driving everything that we're doing in marketing. So let me tell you a little bit about Scott and DJ. They have decades of experience providing game-changing insights that drive real results. Scott is the CEO of Shopper Approved, and he is a two times Inc. 500 award winner, and he has developed over 40 software products. Wow, just incredible. And he is shaping online commerce and the reputation space. DJ Sprague, who's a former CMO of a $1 billion franchise, has driven record sales for top brands like Kodak, Toyota, Hyundai, JD Power, and many other sports teams in the NBA, NASCAR, and MLS. Together, their experience, expertise, and cutting edge strategies have ethically influenced the buying decisions of hundreds of millions of consumers. Scott, DJ, welcome. So good to have you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Thank you.
Abs- Absolutely. So tell us, what is your backstory on getting involved in AI and marketing and reputation management? How did you get into this mess?
Well, back in 2008, I saw what Amazon was doing with reputation, especially with ratings and reviews. And I realized, well, I asked myself, like a lot of entrepreneurs do, why isn't anyone else doing that for other websites? And so that's kind of how Shopper Approved came to be, is we actually created a rating and review platform for e-commerce websites to compete against Amazon. So over the years we've just been building that company and improving the products, but we've really been, in the trenches with these e-commerce brands trying to figure out how to maximize their authority, their credibility, their social proof online. And all of those are actually parts of what we found that AI looks for, which is great for us. And then a couple of years ago, we added a new product called Q&A and to the mix of our reputation products. And that is really something that we're really excited about as far as AI goes.
Yeah, very interesting. How about you, DJ?
Started getting involved in AI really about 3 years ago, as Scott and I were writing our book, Reputation King, and looking at what the LLMs are looking for, which is authority, expertise, visibility, mentions, credibility across a broad spectrum of websites, particularly review sites, third-party review sites. Not as much as what you say on your site about yourself, but what other people are saying about you on their sites. So the third-party review sites became very relevant. If you do search results in AI, pick your LLM, and ask the question, is abc.com legit? Or reviews for abc.com. What you're going to see is a roll-up and mentions of reviews on these third-party sites. So it'll say, according to this review site, this brand has a 4.7 star rating, et cetera, and appears to be a credible company. So what the LLMs are looking for is that visibility. So Scott and I really dug deep into this, and we started to find ways to help propagate reviews across the web so that the AI search engines, the LLMs, would obviously serve those up in the search engines And as Scott said with Q&A, our Q&A tool is really supported by AI, and it will recommend, it'll use AI to recommend questions and answers for your products based on what people are asking on the web and based on the content on your website. So it'll look at all the content on your website and say, here's a great question and answer pair about this particular product. So then you answer that, and it automatically has the schema markup. So it's very easy to index and serve in the search engines for the traditional featured snippets, but also the AI search results. So what was fascinating is with the Q&A tool, it was very easy to dominate those featured snippets. But we also found that once Gemini came out and the other LLMs in search, they were also appearing in the AI search results. So bottom line, what's good for SEO is good for AEO or GEO or AI search, whatever you want to call it. It also helps there. A lot of people are saying SEO is dead, AEO is king. It's not true. SEO has its place. AEO has its place. They both play together. They have different nuances, but today you have to do both. And to do both, you've got to understand what the LLMs are looking for, which is brand sentiment, brand mentions on credible, authoritative third-party sites, which is one of
Yeah,
the
it's
things they're looking for, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty amazing. Well, two things. One is, some people say that search is dead, and yet Google just had its first $100 billion quarter or something like that, and most of that revenue for them is coming through regular search, through paid
Yeah.
search. And I don't know, maybe that's the reaction of all these people on search that are trying to steal back their revenue. But that's an indication that paid search is still believed in by many marketers. But I do like your point about Q&A and this Q&A tool. What I understand is that what the LLMs are trying to do is they want to understand how people are asking questions about your brand or the category or whatever. And so then what makes sense then, if that's the case, is if you can have those questions, so to speak, pre-programmed on your site, you're going to do better on your site. Is that true, or how does that
Yeah.
all work?
That's exactly right, Guy. So the LLMs are looking for short, concise, accurate, unbiased answers to questions. So if you're creating skewed, biased, one-sided answers, uh, they're going to pick up on that. They understand sentiment, they understand context, they understand bias. They're looking for credible, authoritative, unbiased, because they don't want to serve the public a biased answer, right? So that's why they're trying to aggregate all this data from a multitude of sources to come up with something that seems more transparent, right? So when you have that short question, does the ABC widget float? Answer, yes, it does. In fact, it floats and it's waterproof up to 3 meters. There's your answer, right? And that's what they're looking for. And then, of course, obviously having any links to research, data, case studies, examples,
Hmm.
specs, right? So then it can authenticate that answer and show that, oh, you're quoting authority experts or you have research behind that. So that also helps with the credibility and authority of your answer. But long story short, the LLMs want to get to the answer as fast as possible, just like your featured snippets did, right? They want a 40 to 60 word, concise, short, accurate, non-fluffy answer because people just want the answer. They don't want the fluff. They don't want all the buildup. They just want to know, does it float? Is it waterproof,
I would
so to
I would
speak?
add to that too, GJ. Like when you do a search on AI, at least me personally, I'm looking for the source. I want AI to cite the source. And a lot of times AI
Mhm.
hallucinates the source, but they're getting better, right?
Yeah.
And so if you can be the source, right? If you can be the authority that AI cites that has the relevant citation, that's the win.
Right.
Because
Mm.
now the consumer knows they can trust that information and you're the one that provided it.
Yeah. And a great example of that is an AI search result was quoting Search Engine Journal on an AI search question But the reason they quoted the search engine journal is because search engine journal quoted a search expert and linked to their research. So yes, to Scott's point, you really want to quote the experts, be the expert, and provide those expert links and sources so it can be validated.
Yeah, interesting. So now you mentioned that your reputation has had about four or five different dimensions to it, authority and expertise, and there were a couple of other ones. What do you mean exactly by authority and expertise?
Yeah, if you can show that you wrote the book, you wrote the case study, you wrote the comparison article, you created the listicle, you did the research. Look at, for example, influencers and people that are doing affiliate marketing. Well, these affiliate marketers do what? They make money selling a particular product. What do? They create an article that compares that product against five other competitors. Those articles do very well in search. Why? People love comparisons. They love to see how the categories rank. How does that product rank against that product? What are the pros and cons? What are the applications? What are the differences? What are the price points? So those kinds of comparison articles sets you up as the expert, and both traditional search and AI search loves those comparison articles. So that's one way to become an expert, an authority. Writing books, podcasting, articles, doing white papers, doing your own original research, compiling third-party research into a research paper, and quoting and citing and linking to that data sets you up as an expert, right? And obviously, people want to work with experts, and so do the search engines. The search engines want to make sure that you're an authority. Add your byline. If your byline doesn't set you up as an expert in the category, are you really? Or are you just a journalist? Are you reporting on the topic or are you an actual expert on the topic? And there's a
Mm.
difference. Does that help answer the question, Guy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, that was great. How about you, Scott? How would you define them?
Yeah, so I think there's an opportunity for, especially for e-commerce sites, to leverage authority across multiple authoritative review platforms. So one of the things that we do that's really unique at Shopper Approved is we not only do we collect reviews, right, and we're an authority, and we display those, but we actually give our clients the ability to send their customers to other review platforms that have a lot of authority and credibility. And so by doing that, you're kind of you're ethically stacking the deck of authority because now you're leveraging the reputation of Trustpilot, of reseller ratings, right? Of all of Google Business, right? You're leveraging all of these other authorities with your social proof. So when the AI does come and do it and tries to find the source or look for information, they're seeing that you have a good reputation across multiple high domain authority sites. And so that gives you authority um, by being on these sites and having a consistent reputation across the web.
Wow, that sounds really fascinating and makes a lot of sense. How long does it take though? Let's say that I didn't have authority, for example, and I started to, work towards getting these reviews. And let's say then that I got a lot of reviews, I had podcasts and I was interviewing and whatever. And then how long does it take for the LLMs to actually realize that this person, Guy Powell, is an expert?
Depends on the LLM. Some LLMs are looking at historical data and some are looking at fresh current data. So it just depends on the LLM that you're using. Um, that's bottom line. Now, I have seen results show up in 2 or 3 days of content going live in the search results for AI. I wanted to point out something that Scott said too about social proof. And you asked the question earlier, Guy, how did we get into this? Well, Scott and I originally were really doing a deep dive into behavioral science or behavioral economics, which is really a concept that became very, very popular with Dr. Robert Cialdini and his famous book Influence that came out in 1982, which I'm sure you've heard of, became an international bestseller on persuasion and behavioral science and the psychology behind decision making. And what he found, in fact, he coined the term social proof. He actually coined that term in his book, Influence. And we did our own research and found that according to AI search results, social proof is typically the most influential component of behavioral science. In other words, people look at what other people are doing to make a decision, especially if they've never made that decision before. So if they're buying a new product, a new category, a new brand, going to a new place, doing something they haven't done before or something they're not familiar with, they're going to look at what other people are doing to decide what to do. So you go into a new restaurant you've never been to, you ask the waiter, what's the most popular dish? What's the most popular dessert, right? Because you want to know what other people have already vetted, validated, and approved of, basically, which is why reviews are so important. And social proof is a big part of AI search results. Search is looking for social proof. Social proof comes up in a variety of ways. How many mentions do you have? Where are those mentions? Are they authoritative sources? Does that source have a high domain authority? Is that source an expert source in this category, this topic? Reviews. How many reviews? Where are those reviews? What are the review ratings? So social proof is a big component of both traditional SEO and AEO. We cannot deny how influential social proof is in the human decision making and the search engine decision making.
Yeah, and I think as you start to see these AI engines promote products, we're starting to see it already, but as that continues to evolve, social proof is going to be incredibly important, and not only just on one site. You've got to have, like I was saying, you have to be the authority on multiple sites because AI is going to pull it all, and they're going to
Mm.
bring it all together and show what your true reputation is across the web.
Yeah, that is so interesting. As you were talking, I was thinking about, marketers obviously are interested in the lower funnel and they want to get conversion and sell stuff right away. But they're also interested in the top of the funnel. And the top of the funnel, I kind of liken it to, not quite totally, but liken it to, brand or brand equity. And the brand equity components that you typically see are, awareness and favorability and purchase intent and brand relevance. And, there's a couple of other ones. But what's interesting, though, is now potentially in the AI world, and probably even before the AI world, your brand is also dependent upon how your social proof scores against the competition. And so it's almost like you need to also track your social proof compared to the competition in your category to see whether you're able to move the needle in the brand. And any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well
That's
said,
cool.
Guy. Very well said. Do you follow Alex Hormozy at all?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay, well, Alex Hormozy is very popular. He's written several best-selling books. In fact, he has a Guinness Book of World Records now, selling the most books online. But in any case, his newsletter came out just today, this morning, in fact. And one of the things he was talking about is to increase your cash flow and your profitability, you have to reduce your CAC, your customer acquisition costs, right? And one of the best ways to do that is through reviews. Because you talked about BOFU, bottom of funnel. Well, in that moment of decision making, one of the subconscious components that's going to come into that decision making is, do I trust this brand? Do I trust this product? And one of the number one resources people pull to determine if they trust the brand and or the product is reviews. So, here's Alex Hormozy, who's now a, global world-class expert, and a, multi-million follower, says that reviews are one of the key components to reducing your
Mm.
CAC and therefore your profitability and your close rate and your success.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah.
Scott, any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So one thing that I love what you said is, a lot of businesses do focus on the bottom of the funnel, right? They focus on how can I increase my conversion rate? Well, the cool thing that about the world we live in, Guy, is we live in both worlds because with social proof and ratings and reviews and Q&A, you can leverage those on your website to increase your conversion rate. And then you also get to leverage them in search to increase your authority and your trust. And Dr. Cialdini calls that persuasion. You're actually
Mhm.
persuading them before they even get to your site to already want to buy from you because of that trust and authority and social proof in search. And so that's one of the fun things that we love about being in the review industry and the reputation management industry is we get to leverage both worlds for our clients and they get to benefit from that information on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. So tell us, do you have a good case study that you can tell us about and really get us our juices going as to how this improves the brand, maybe, and or definitely, certainly the bottom of the funnel?
Yeah. One case study in particular sells aftermarket parts for the ATV golf cart industry. They were flatlining for about 5 years, sub 1,000 unique visitors a month for 5 years. They installed product and seller ratings and Q&A in June, a couple years ago. Within 6 months, they were doing about 24,000 unique visitors a month from sub 1,000. So we're talking about a 8,000% increase. Now, they also started blogging, but they attributed at least half of the additional traffic to the Q&A and the reviews. In fact, the Q&A is very trackable because you can see what people are clicking on. And their conversion rate, the more important part, went up by 423%. So it's really phenomenal what this can do because of that social proof, right? I mean, think
Mm,
about it yourself. If you're doing a search for a product and you see that product show up at the top of search versus a product that shows up in number five position, which one do you trust more?
right,
The
right,
one that's number one, right? Because in your mind, it's been endorsed by Google. Now, same scenario, you see a product with 125 reviews and it's a 4.7 average versus one with 3-star reviews and it's 12 reviews. Which one do you trust more,
right.
right?
Absolutely,
Social proof.
absolutely. Yeah,
So that's the persuasion Scott was talking about. When you see that your brand, because of the featured snippets in the Q&A showing up at the top of search, and more and better reviews, you've got an endorsement for Google and you've got an endorsement from the public. So you've got two endorsements saying this product is more popular and more liked than these other products. So which one are you more likely to buy, at least consider and put in your, consideration set?
yeah,
It,
I
yeah,
think
absolutely.
AI is probably going to base their decisions on that same logic. It just makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and actually, well, actually, what AI to me seems to be doing in this case is at least when I do a search on, we're renovating our house, as I mentioned, and putting in a new bathroom and looking for sinks or whatever it is, and so when I do a search on AI and say I'm looking for the best sink for a blah 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 and it comes back with an answer. What it's kind of done, I think, is kind of well sped up my search process, and now it's kind of like a third. I really like your two recommendations, Google, and then your three to versus 5 stars example. But then you have another one that hey, Chat GPT or the AI came back with another kind of a recommendation that you kind of know is based on the volume and quality, I guess, of reviews that are out there.
yeah, that's exactly right. And here's what's coming, Guy, is you're going to be able to buy that sync in the AI search results. You're going to have order forms served up to you. So you're going to have everything you need, your comparisons, your reviews, your specs, etc. But you'll also have a purchase now form where you can literally buy it without ever going to the website. So AI commerce is coming.
Yeah,
And people are complaining already that their traffic is down to their website, and it is 35 to 65 to 70%. Traffic is down. Why? A, people are getting the results and the answers in the LLM search results. But it's going to get even more intense because people will be able to buy directly from the search result. So AI is going to
yeah.
change a lot.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you there. It's going to be my AI bot that's going to buy it for
That's
me.
right. That's right. That's right. You can have a
Yeah,
personalized bot. That's right.
yeah,
That's the
that's
next
right.
level, right? That's the next step. The first
That's
step will
right.
be the purchase form.
Yeah. All right. So, one other thought as we're talking here, you talked about the 127 reviews at 4.7 stars, et cetera. So what's more important? Is it quality or quantity? Should I get fewer five-star reviews or should I get more four-star reviews? Which one is kind of more meaningful to me?
Excellent question. It depends on the product. So a technical product that it's very, very important that that product has specific specifications, requirements, or fit. Will it fit this particular application or vehicle or boat or whatever it is, right? So in that case, you're going to read the specs much more diligently and the reviews much more diligently. If it's more of a consumer product, the depth of the review feedback isn't as important as the number of reviews and the average star rating because the specs aren't as important. It's a baseball cap. It's a frying pan. Are the specs as important as just the overall? It's a 4.7 and it has 300 reviews. I'm good. But if it's a highly technical product that absolutely must fit specific requirements, you're going to dig into those reviews much more diligently. And it could be just 5 reviews, but as long as those reviews are talking about the specs that are important to you and that product, then that's what matters. So again, it all depends, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Scott?
Yeah, and this is something that probably a lot of people don't know is there's actually a sweet spot that you want to be in if you're in e-commerce, or even if you're just collecting store ratings for your company in general. Because there's two different types of reviews. There's store ratings about your brand, and then there's product reviews for each specific product that you sell. But the magic place you want to live is between 4.2 and 4.7. If you go below that, on the if you think of it as like a curve, you want to be in the middle of that curve, and that's kind of the magic place. If you go higher than 4.7, people won't trust it because they think you're gaming the system, right? If you go below 4.2, then they don't trust the product because the rating is too low. So at that point, it doesn't matter how many reviews you have. If it's on the edges of that magic
Mm,
band, right? Then you're in trouble either way. But you want to stay within that. And then the number of reviews aren't quite as important, but I think you do have to have both. And the more ratings you have, the better. Another thing that a lot of e-commerce companies don't think about is recency,
mm.
right? You could have 1,000 reviews, but if they were 2 years old, consumers don't care. They want to see that you're actively collecting reviews every day, and that there's new customers coming in and continuing to say that this is a good product. So those are just really good tips for e-commerce brands to think about that they might not normally.
Yeah.
It's funny, you talk about, the reviews and, sometimes you can kind of tell that these are company or brand friendly reviews, whether they were written by the marketing person or the sister or the mother or the grandmother or something like that. They sound like they're just written, by the marketing person. And yeah, so that's one thing. And I think your point is really well taken, is the recency of reviews must also reflect the recency of purchases. So if I've got, tons of reviews that are 2 years old, and none today, then there's something going on that that just doesn't make sense. Now, though,
Yeah.
the other question that I've found, especially when I'm looking at reviews, is I want to look at all of the 1 and 2 star reviews. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. And it's kind of like the difference in the reviews. You got all these friendly ones with super satisfied, love the product, and I'm sure that they're truthful. But it's the 1 stars that say, I bought this refrigerator and, the ice maker broke within 2 months. and and I did this and that broke or whatever it was, or I couldn't install it or I couldn't put it together. And as you can see, I'm using my renovation experience here on all of these things. So how does the reputation management for AI, how do these 1 star and 2 star reviews affect that?
Well, another great question. You've got some great insights because obviously you're a consumer and you're looking at those reviews and using those reviews to make decisions. So we always like to say that there's really no bad review. There are bad responses and bad ways of handling negative or critical reviews, but the bad reviews are very helpful. And Scott can dig into that deeper. But the reality is, as you said, and we all do it, we want to look at those 1, 2, and 3 star reviews because we want to know how bad is bad, right? Is this just a complete train wreck, or did the ice maker break in 2 months, but they fixed it immediately, or they sent out a new one, or they rectified the problem? Because let's face it, there are no perfect products and there are no perfect companies. Things will happen. The issue is, how did they solve it? How quickly did they solve it? Did they make you jump through all kinds of hoops and make it very difficult, and therefore you'll never buy from that company again? Or were they very congenial, apologetic, and responsive? And what people really want to know is, did they fix the problem? How do they handle it? And can I trust them to take care of it if I have a problem? That's what we're looking for, right? Because we know there's going to be issues. No product is 100% perfect. And so we just want to look for that validation of how do they handle it? Were they sympathetic, apologetic, and did they immediately jump on that and fix it? Now, if you have critical or negative reviews and you don't respond to them, that's a red flag. So it's very, very important to respond to those critical reviews quickly and address the problem. Brands want to delete them, bury them, ignore them, and pretend everything's perfect. That's the worst thing you can do. Because if you don't have any critical reviews, people are going to assume you're gaming it. As Scott said, the sweet spot is 4.2 to 4.7. If all you're doing is showing perfect 5 star reviews, what happens to your trust barometer? Do you trust them more or do you trust them less?
Yeah, yeah, very, very good. Scott, any thoughts on how that all fits in?
Yeah, so I think this is a great miss that most companies that they completely pass by, but it's a huge opportunity for them because what we call what we call it is turning a negative review into a net positive. And so, like DJ said, if you can, people want to know how bad is bad. And like you probably do this, guy, you probably go and look at the 1 stars before you make a purchase, right? And so, but here's the difference: two different scenarios. One company doesn't do anything for their 1 stars; they don't respond or anything, and the other company has these empathetic replies. They took time to answer the customer. They resolved the concern, and you can see that they actually care. Well, now that 1 star, every time they do that, that's worth 105 stars, right? Because now as a consumer, you know that this is a good company that you can trust. And even if you do have a problem, they're going to take care of it and they're going to make you whole. And that just adds so much comfort to you as a buyer. You're actually way more likely to buy after reading a 1 star like that than if you see a company that doesn't have any responses to their 1 stars. That's gonna lower your likelihood of buying. And then if they have net positive reviews, that's going to increase the likelihood significantly.
Yeah, very interesting.
We can all smell a rat, right? I mean, we all have intuitive sense of when people are gaming and manipulating the system. And, if all your reviews are perfect, you smell a rat. If they are transparent and authentic and sharing all of their reviews, and statistically, by the way, brands are great. Brands are selling good products, providing good services. And if you ask every single customer to leave a review, statistically, we have found, and we've served tens of thousands of e-commerce brands and collected millions of reviews. We have found that when you collect reviews from everyone, you're going to get a 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, 5 consistently. Now, you will get an average, right? You will get some critical reviews, but that's okay because that's the authenticity. But when you ask everybody for a review, you're going to get more positive than you are negative. And that is what creates the trust.
Yeah, interesting and fantastic. Well, I would love to go on. I've got a handful of other questions, but at some point, time runs out, and we've got to move on. But I do have one last question for you, and I ask everybody this: what advice would you give an up and coming new marketer in this world of AI and marketing? How would you help them out?
Jump in early, jump in fast, be intentional, and don't just look at AI as a fun toy. Look at AI as a way to solve actual problems. Because if it's not solving actual problems and you're just using it to write copy or respond to emails or create workflows, et cetera, you're not really leveraging the true capacity of AI. And we've all read the headlines. Many, many brands are not hiring because they're using AI instead. They're laying people off because they're using AI because they're finding ways to actually solve problems. And if you're a marketer, your job is, you know, tenuous if you're not leveraging AI to get more value, more return, more results by leveraging technology. You have to do it. You can't ignore it. You can't bury your head in the sand. You got to jump in with both feet, adopt it, love it, embrace it, learn it, leverage it, and become an AI expert, and you'll be irreplaceable. If you don't, then you are replaceable.
Yeah, interesting way to put that. Any thoughts, Scott?
Yeah, I would say take a hard look in the mirror, right? What you want is what everyone else wants, and that's what AI wants to give you. Don't make content, don't create things that you wouldn't want to read yourself, that you don't think would be help you to be more trustworthy, more authoritative, and be the expert in your space. It's just not worth it, right? Just look in the mirror and deliver the kind of value that you would want to see, and that's what's going to help you win in the end.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, that was great, Scott, DJ. Thank you so much for participating today, and thanks for your incredibly good insights. Where can folks reach out to you, learn more about you and your company and your product Q&A?
Yeah, shopperapproved.com is where you can learn about all of our products, the Q&A, the reviews, etc. You can get a free copy of our book, Reputation King, at reputationking.com. And that's how you can learn about us. Scott and I have our bios and a lot of our past podcasts, media sheets, etc. on reputationking.com. And then shopperapproved.com is our brand that delivers the online reputation management.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Scott, DJ, thank you so much. And for the audience, please stay tuned for many other videos in this series of the backstory on marketing and AI. And if you get a chance, please visit marketingmachine.prorelevant.com and you can download more information about my upcoming new book, The AI Marketing Machine. Again, Scott, DJ, thank you so much. Really great to have you today.
We can't wait for
Thanks,
your new
Guy.
book.
Thank you. You'll
Thanks,
be one of the
Guy.
first to know, that's for sure. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you, Scott.